Jurassic World Dominion, the new trailer just dropped. I've never done a trailer review before or a reaction, and I've seen some this morning, and I've been hearing about Jurassic World. I've seen them all up to this point. I'm looking forward to Dominion, and I just quickly wanted to do an analysis. Some of the things I hear about the Jurassic Park franchise that has emerged in Jurassic World, morphed, when you're dealing with soft reboot universes where you create new characters to continue on the franchise and sometimes blend in old ones, as opposed to a full reboot where you do like Battlestar Galactica did well back in the day. It was a completely different universe based off of the first one. You're always going to run into problems and criticisms. Most of the reboots, soft reboots and continuations that we've seen over the last several years have been awful. For the most part, the only one I really liked was Battlestar Galactica. I really felt like that, but that was, 20 years ago almost. It was long ago enough that it was sort of protected. It was earlier than all of this current. There's a formula now, the way things are rewritten to add representation, diversity, this and that, swapping out characters. And even when they did that on the old Battlestar Galactica with Starbuck, they did it with someone that was good at the role and wrote it well, and she performed it well. Be that as it may, a lot of the criticisms I hear about Jurassic World as a continuation soft reboot is, well, there are several. One, the velociraptors went from being big, bad, devious dinosaurs and a scary threat to being sort of moderately dangerous pets that we were training. Rather than focusing around species of dinosaurs that were real and being cloned from the past, you have mutated monsters coming in. I think the third one being humans never learned their lesson, that the lessons they should have learned from the first three movies are clearly forgotten. Now, I don't agree with any of those criticisms. I acknowledge that they're real concerns. Here's the thing. If we were going to continue on this storyline logically, given human nature and human history, you want it to have a certain sense of realism. Learning that the velociraptors were so intelligent leads almost inevitably to the idea of using them in some fashion as instruments, not pets. The same way we have trained dogs for war, horses for war, elephants for war, the trying to teach dolphins to whales to retrieve torpedoes or dipshit like that. Some of you will get the reference. To have something with the fighting potential, the aggressive, hostile, offensive potential of a velociraptor that is trainable and able to be sent into combat during an era where in real life we increasingly use drones and look at robotics to replace the human losses, to think that we would not follow up after we learned in the Jurassic Park movies how smart they were, follow up on trying to use velociraptors in this way would be irrational. Of course, we're gonna do that. It logically fits within the course of a universe where there are velociraptors able to be cloned that we would pursue this intelligence. The mutated monsters being created instead of cloned dinosaurs, it's always going to be bigger, better, more aggressive, right? They even poke fun at that within the franchise. But that again is human nature. We do that. We do that all the time, don't we? I mean, again, it's sort of only logical that we would, when Tyrannosaurus Rex isn't scary enough, we would try to create Godzilla artificially or something worse, if that is your goal for shock value, to bring in people to sell tickets to make money. And let's face it, human history is the story of humans not learning their lesson. We always say, those who don't know, learn from history are doomed to repeat it. But the bottom line is, even if some people learn the right lesson, come away from a disaster with a better understanding, there's going to be people that don't. There's going to be people that live through it, but because we're humans, come to a different conclusion. The realization it leads them to is not what we would consider proper. Don't clone dinosaurs. It leads them to think, I'll do it better next time. We see this constantly repeated in human history. The drive to recreate the multiple genocides of communism, because we'll do it right this time. That's nothing. Creating a giant genetically engineered monster and doing it again is nothing compared to the things we have done in real life. So humans don't learn their lesson. I think the real criticism of Jurassic World has to be the basic one. Why do it at all? And really, trying to be meta, this is what they poke fun at when they talk about being bigger, better, and the bigger draw. There is, with the growth of the special effects technology, with the times, being able to hype it up and bring people in. The movie becomes the park becomes the movie. The lessons that are meant to be learned were already learned by those who are going to absorb them. The story, which is as old as the human race, of dabbling with powers beyond our control and it leads to disaster, is one that was already told multiple times in the first movies. Why keep telling it? There really isn't anything new to do with it, except make more money. That's what kind of puts it in this era, that and the simply years it fell in, but it is in that era of let's reboot this old property to make more money, let's soft reboot it, let's continue it, whatever, to make more money. But of all the ones that are out there, Battlestar Galactica 15, 20 years ago was the best one I've ever seen of a remake reboot. Jurassic World, I've watched them all and I found them entertaining. Did we need them? No. Was it the story that had to happen? No. But they didn't really butcher it much. I mean, there's some references in there to things to make it current that are a little bit cringy and a little bit point towards woke things, but there's really no sermonizing. This isn't Supergirl. It isn't Diversity Lord of the Rings, which I'll get to later. They really do a good job of just making more movies about when the final lessons have already been established in the first three. You're just repeating yourself and enjoying watching people get eaten by dinosaurs. They did that. They produced that. It was entertaining for what it was. I'm very happy about the trailer to see them. It looks like they intend to wrap it up. They've realized that it's at the end of, we can't milk it anymore. And rather than draw it out into 15 Sharknado spin-off whatevers to just go, straight to streaming for the 100 people that want it, rather than slow kill it like that, it looks like they're going to wrap it up nice, bring back the original cast from the very first movie that are still around. I will say, I've heard rumors online about Ariana Richards, and I can't remember who played the boy. Ariana Richards was a relatively big child actress at the time. She was in Space Invaders, made appearances in a ton of TV shows, Boy Meets World and other things. She's still out there. She's mainly doing art now, but if they skip over anybody, especially after they brought back BD1's character to the movies, showing his growth, that he's now more important in the company because he got promoted over the years, which again, didn't feel artificial. They didn't put BD1 in there just because he was Asian or because his actor is known to be gay. It was literally within universe, totally made sense. I'll be very disappointed if the kids from the first movie don't come back, or all of the people, Tia Leone and the others from the other movies. It would be nice to at least have them in cameos during a disaster to really wind it up together completely. But we'll see how it works. I think the good news of the trailer is it looks like that's their intention, to not beat it, keep beating it until it's meaningless, to just go ahead and wrap it up and leave us with these two trilogies connected that then tell a complete narrative and don't just drag on forever. So we'll see when it comes out. I'm looking forward to actually watching it and doing a review after it's out, and we will see.